wants to be part of that. Lagos in Nigeria is the biggest marathon in Nigeria. You can say Cape Town in South Africa, probably the biggest on the South African continent. So my guests are here. They are ready to roll, and we will be back with you again in a short while. Okay, Yemi and Tayo are here with me on the marathon. So guys, what's your take? Yemi is the expert here, majorly. With all due respect to Tayo, Yemi is the expert. What's your take on the growing popularity of marathons across the world?
Thanks for having me here, first of all. And I just want to say it's a good development because now we can see that marathon culture is sort of spreading across not just the continent, but the country. We have the Lagos City Marathon, which is in its 8th edition. We have, like the Warri Marathon. We have the Abuja Marathon. So this is the one coming closer to, and this is very particular, closer to the north. The main edition of the Abuja International Marathon. So with this now we can see that it's spreading across the nation gradually. And I think that's a very big development for us as a nation. It's bringing more awareness to people. And the thing I like about the marathon, you see that it's something that people are actually willing to be a part of it. That okay, the mass participation is something we really like. It's like this is something we can be a part of. We can do something about it. We can get involved one way or the other. So I think it's really good for us.
Interestingly, Tayo is also an economic perspective. From an economic perspective, is also something that will give a money spinner. So marathons across the world charge as much as over $300 for you to register, and then they have tens of thousands of people registering. So, do you feel that Abuja has the potential of becoming maybe one of the biggest marathons, maybe not in the world, but at least across Africa?
Definitely, thank you. If you check Abuja itself, the topography, the road networks, and everything around it, it's similar to what you get in Boston, it's similar to what you get in London, it's similar to what you get in New York. It's a city, capital city that has everything that can make a marathon that have that economic backup to it. So, and let me just give you this. Yesterday, I was with the people, the athletes,
when they were registering.
And the excitement shows that there's so much future when it comes to marathon in Abuja.
Okay, let's focus a bit more on the runners that we're expecting here. When you run, for the men, when you run 210 below, that is elite status. So some of the elite runners who are here, tell us about them. A couple of them who have run 208, 209. So we might be expecting some real good times here.
I think time is Kenya's Emmanuel Naive, who is coming with a personal best of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 27
That's the start point for the race. That is the start point that we are witnessing there. So the runners are all set to go, and we're all set to go with them as well. So Yemi, tell us a bit more about this. The start point is always a very, very exciting point in the race.
It's always very exciting, I'm sure. I mean, they can't wait to take off. And so, this is history being made here in this part of the country. So I'm very excited, looking forward to having great times like you just mentioned. And we're talking about the lineup, starting with the fastest person here, who comes with a time of 2:08.27. Oh wow, they take it off.
The race has taken off, so we're going to hand you over now to our commentary team, Yemi Olus, and alongside her, Babajide Guerrero. The Abuja International Marathon is up and running. Okay, well, let's still continue to enjoy the start of the race. That's a nice aerial shot. Abuja, like you said, topography, beautiful city. And I'm sure even the runners, as they are making the race, they'll be enjoying the scenes and the scenery.
Definitely, and the weather actually contributes more to the ambient because it's cool right now in Abuja.
Yeah, the rain overnight is
harsh as when it's the sun.
Yeah.
So we should expect a very good time return from this. What you're looking at is a very fine shot. because it's kind of advertising what Abuja is.
The beauty.
It's just a very fine way of telling people around the world that Abuja Marathon has actually come to stay.
So what kind of times are you expecting here today, Yemi?
I should be looking at maybe a 2:10, 2:12, something lower than 2:15. I would think that is a start, and I think that would be good because looking at the course records for some of the marathons we already have now, for the Lagos City Marathon, the course record is 2 hours 10 minutes. Yeah, for like the Durban Marathon, 2 hours 10 minutes as well. So for a first edition, so let's talk about like 2 hours 14 or 15 minutes. That's what I'll be looking at. For the women, I think it will be about 2 hours 30 minutes or so, something along that range. So that's what I'll probably be looking forward to seeing here today.
A lot of aerial shots really showing the scenery and the beauty of the place. How big, in my opinion, is that this Abuja Marathon will go very fast. Because when other runners see the topography, the scenery and all that, it will be a place where I would like to visit and run. So how big was the potential for the marathon here?
Yeah, I think the potential is because once you check the prize money as well, it's one of the major attractions. I was speaking to one of the agents who brings athletes around. Yeah. When I mentioned to him that the total prize money is $110,000, he shouted, "Wow! How could they have missed this kind of a jackpot?" So if you look at the businesses around Abuja, definitely corporate bodies would want to show their products, show their brands, because Abuja Marathon is well situated in the heart of the country. And then just looking at that as well shows that it's a tourist area. When people come around, they see the beautiful areas, and the capital can also use it as to promote certain things when it comes to
you use the marathon to promote the university, the culture of the city and the beauty of it. And I think what this Abuja Marathon is going to do for Nigeria as a country is to show, all the negativity you hear, people will see this and will see that, oh, such a beautiful city in the heart of Nigeria. And I think, I like the aerial shot. It's giving us a full view of the city and it's making it very, very exciting for the runners. So, Yemi, why do you think marathons have become so popular?
For me, I will say that the mass participation is a major attraction.
Okay.
And I think there's also a new awareness and consciousness in terms of our health. How good running is for our health.
I think the pandemic played a huge role in that. People learn how to exercise, how to walk, how to jog, how to do all of that.
So people are becoming more aware of that. Everyone wants to keep healthy now.
So tell us quickly about your favorites for these races, the men and the women.
I have favorites.
Maybe.
But I think somebody I want to watch out for would be Ruth Jebet.
For the women.
For the women. This is actually her first marathon, but looking at what she's achieved in
long distance running,
3,000 meters steeplechase, where she used to be the world record holder and the Rio 2016 Olympic champion, I expect to see some fast times from her, and she's still quite young. So I want to see what she wants to do, what she hopes to achieve in this first marathon. But yes, based on times as well, and she should be the one to watch out for. But then you can't rule out anyone. He was at the Lagos City Marathon this year. He was fourth, but he was third last year, and he won in 2021, I believe. So he's also no stranger to the Nigerian scenery as well. He's run at Opepe as well. So, and some of these people now, they keep returning. It's not just one race. You're taking part in multiple Nigerian races, as it were. So this is something the marathon can bring for us, exposing people to our culture, to all that we have, to offer.
Now, Tayo, let's focus a bit on the Nigerian angle. Nigerian marathoners coming up, maybe not world class yet, but coming up. I remember when I was in school, there were some great runners. I think a Nigerian marathon has done 2:10 before, if I'm not mistaken. So, what's the potential for our athletes with all these marathon races being run across the country and developing their interests and their ability? What's the potential for them? These are some of the fun runners just enjoying themselves, just trying to finish. But from a Nigerian perspective, Tyler, what are the potential for Nigerian athletes to really get into that world-class level?
The potentials are there, and I feel that Nigerians can key into it in a very massive way. You know, if you check the city of Jos, or if you look at Plateau, it has a very good topography in terms of the elevations. And some of the athletes that I've spoken to in the past, they usually go there. Ismail Shah is not here today, but he goes to Plateau to train. And I think the Athletics Federation of Nigeria is also doing something towards that. Because when you look at other athletes coming from different parts of the world, coming to Nigeria, $50,000, $40,000, and the money just goes away like that. That's a whole lot of economy moving out.
Is it too late for me to run a marathon?
So the culture is actually picking up.
You know, the money, the figures you are banning about, my head is spinning.
So the culture is actually picking up. And don't forget that in some of the races like the road race of Pepe, there was a time the prize money wasn't that high. But when it kept coming up, it keeps rising, Nigerians got interested. So every now and then, the numbers keep increasing. So the potentials are there. And once we get everything right now, we want to win it. And if we have a program to achieve that, I think that can be done.
Just to add to what Tayo said, you know, the most successful long-distance club in Nigeria is based in Jos. They are called the High Altitude Athletics Club, and they registered 75 runners
for this race.
30 of them elite. So the bulk of our elite long-distance runners are from this club based in Jos. And now I would feel like this should be a challenge, you know, to them. And it's not that the marathon has come to stay in Nigeria. Like have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, you know, that sort of thing, so that our athletes eventually get to be real contenders for this prize.
Technically, I'm not sure about this, but technically, you have a limited number of marathons you can run in a year.
Definitely.
Or is it like once a quarter? Or what's the time frame? If you run a marathon like this guy running today, when is the next time they can take part in the marathon?
Because I know, for example, although that might be at an entirely different level, for the world record holder, from Kenya, he probably runs like 2 marathons a year.
A year, okay.
You know, last year he did 2 marathons. This year, the Boston Marathon was kind of like maybe the only marathon because he wanted to be the first man to win 5 majors.
Oh, okay.
He's won 4.
4, okay.
4 of the 6 major marathons.
Majors, yeah.
You know, so that might be at a different level, but he doesn't do more than 2 marathons in a year. You know, he's talking of the highest levels. So even for our athletes too, we should just look at maybe 2-3 marathons in a year, you know, so that it doesn't become too much, because there's also that tendency.
Because of the money, but so medically not good for you. So marathons quickly, you know, they quickly form into this leading pack of 8 to 10 to 12 runners. What do you think goes on with the minds when they're adjusting for positions like this?
I think for some will actually try to just remain, you know, with the leading pack, but not push themselves too much. So you're using someone as a pace setter, you know, just watching them, because of course they already know each other, they know their strengths and all of that. Okay, so just keep.
We can see that the race has started. It is really very, very exciting for the city of Abuja.
It is. Just to take it up from the little part there, what they actually do, remember here they said, you know, they train together. And when you see them train, you wouldn't want to because it's usually intense.
Yes.
So once they have the pace, they have their timer, which they keep to. So once they know that you're leading me, you're ahead, they want to always keep
ahead of you, or keep tab of you.
That group. But once you break off from that group, you end up where you don't want to be.
Just stay close enough.
Just stay close enough. Keep
but
your
don't
pace.
exert yourself too much, but just stay close enough.
Don't forget that it's 42 kilometers.
Yeah. I will mention, and today we have 3 races. There's a 42-kilometer full marathon, 42.195. There's a 5-kilometer race for I think students, and there's a 10-kilometer fun race. So quite a number of exciting races. You touch on the mass participation, Yemi. Why do you think, is it a question of community? Everybody wants to go out and do something. the fans, the crowd lining the streets and all of it. You watch the marathons and the sheer number of runners, coupled with the sheer number of people watching, probably you have 100,000 like the Boston Marathon. So I'm just curious why marathons, a test of endurance, definitely, but not easy as well. Why the marathons have become so easy that people like to prove themselves that I can do this or test themselves against the elements?
I think that's a major factor. It's like a goal, you want to tell yourself that okay, this is something,
I
you
can
challenge
finish this.
yourself, this is something I can do. And so for some people, and it's good that they have 3 races, so not everyone will go for the 42.
And you respect yourself.
Don't pass yourself.
Exactly.
So someone will do like the 10K, like a friend of mine is doing the 10K, and like he registered for the 42K initially, but he's like, let me just
I actually have a friend in his 50s who has done London and finished London, Boston, Berlin. I think he's done Chicago as well. I think it's only Tokyo and New York that he hasn't done.
Wow.
He's in his 50s and he's done those races and he actually finished those races. So the point to make people trying to challenge themselves and trying to prove that I can do this is another factor. Well, so Tayo, how can we harness the interest generated in marathons for further development of our athletes across board, not only in marathon races, across board?
Yeah, I think the way we can actually sustain it is when people see international athletes coming around, they watch them on TV.
And they see the amount of money they make.
The money aside now, but if you look at the upcoming ones now, those ones who aspire to be
Okay. There are some of the athletes. Can you spot Naive in that group?
Not yet.
It must be in there.
So when you see that green and white or color, an aspiring athlete or a youngster who wants to be like that, wants to be on the spotlight, and when you look at that, that definitely will spark the kind of attention that marathon. Let's also not forget that marathon is an open thing. People see it everywhere, like when the other races that is more enclosed in the stadium. Marathon is open for everybody to see.
I can understand.
People are just on the street.
I can understand the interest. I want to prove myself, but is it the Boston Marathon that charges $320 to register a New York Marathon? One of those two, and they generate millions of dollars even from registration alone. So why would I pay $320 to try and run 42 kilometers when I know I don't have a chance of winning? That just, there's something about the marathon that just interests people. And that's what we're seeing here, because yesterday at the registration point, you could see people kept on trooping in, all kinds of people trooping in. I was like, these guys actually want to run 42 kilometers. So it's from an economic perspective, because I know the Lagos Marathon now, I think from next year they'll start charging registration fee. From an economic perspective, what can a marathon do for a city?
Oh, it can do a lot, it can do so much. I remember when World Rankerman was talking yesterday, talking of the connections he has made just from running, from different parts of the country, from other countries, as well. So a lot of people, I think if we can actually maintain what we have, you get people, not just athletes, coming and not the athletes, not elite athletes, but people coming to be a part of it. So you're showcasing your culture, you're talking about also the economic benefits for those now who are selling, who are doing all sorts of things. You're presenting medals to every runner, who finishes the race. That is someone who is doing that, A lot of businesses you're providing for people as well. So, and like we talked of a place like Abuja now, beautiful scenery as well. So you're exposing people to your country.
Some of those aerial shots already, I'm sure someone will be like, oh, this is a beautiful city I'd like to visit because I was able to return.
You've never seen before.
Yeah.
So because now you're following that course and then you're being exposed to places you didn't even know existed. So those are some of the things we get to showcase.
All right, Tayo. The race usually is about 2.5 hours. Depends on how we start. 2.5, 3 hours for the women. Have you ever wondered Or can you tell us what you think it does to the body of a human being? I know you're not a doctor, you're not a medical person, but having to do that constant running for that with that intensity for that length of time. You know, that's why you see when they finish, most of them will just flop on the floor. There's an active rest area. But that singular act of finishing does a lot for individuals, even if they don't win.
Definitely. You know, for every athlete, for you to participate in the race, you must have undergone so much training programs.
Yeah.
So you just don't
condition your body.
Yeah, you just don't jump into the race because hey, there's a prize tag and there is something to win at the end of it. So when they train, there is this angle to it that I want to push the limit of my body.
Yeah.
What can I achieve? Somebody can get to this particular time or return this time. What stops me from doing that? And that encourages everybody, even those who are not professional runners, to use the marathon as a way of keeping fit. I know marathon is now a culture, and when people run, they jog, they see it as part of what the name of it, especially when it's a free day like a Saturday, when you don't need to head to the office and all that. So it's a kind of a culture and a social way of bringing people together. And when you look at that, definitely marathon will be the in thing going forward.
Okay. So Emmanuel Naibe is the one in the lead at the moment. He has a personal best time of, he's from Kenya, personal best time of 2.08 seconds. He's been fourth and he's been third at the Lagos City Marathon. So I guess we'll soon give him a honorary Nigerian citizenship at this rate. Then there's number 4. We'll check that out for you in a bit. Number 4. Those are the
Silas Cheboy, Kenya.
It's also Silas Cheboy of Kenya is number 4. So 2 Kenyans in the lead at the moment, Emmanuel Naibe and Silas Cheboy. So eyes on the prize.
Yeah, that's Emmanuel Naibe.
Yeah,
That's our boy.
Yes,
yeah,
One of our own elite artists, Emmanuel. Yeah.
He's probably been the biggest name in the last decade in terms of Nigerian long distance. But we would like to see it translate, into something bigger eventually. So that's Sheikh Mwanzu as well.
Last day, he said the 10 kilometer race. He said he wouldn't be translated. That's
Okay. We're soon going to hand you over to our commentary team. Yemi Olus will join that commentary team, and it's of course Babajide Guerrero, who is our main commentator, is standing by because we can't talk for 2 hours. They are the ones that have all the information and all the facts about. As soon as we're ready with that, we'll take you to the live commentary and we'll take you right through the race up to the finish point. The race started at the City Gate in Abuja, the iconic City Gate in Abuja, and is ending just beside the Eagle Square. 2 major landmarks in Abuja. Zuma Rock is another major landmark. I actually served in Abuja. My youth service corps was in Abuja, but in those days it was only the Festival Road and Abuja Hotel. And that was, I don't want to mention it, that was almost 30 years ago, 1986, 87.
It's definitely not the same Abuja.
No, Abuja has changed 10 times over. I told you it was Festival Road, Abuja Hotel, and that was it. And but a lot of construction going on, and it's rate at which Abuja has developed over the last 30 years is pretty amazing time.
It is. You see the structures, skyscrapers here and there, the road network, our culture, the city is clean. These are factors that when you look at, you would want to always come back to the city to organize a big race like this. And looking at the condition these athletes are in, with the rain, I think
the rain is a good thing for them because it cools the body, and it probably will
generate more of their reserve energy to keep running.
All right, I think we're getting set to move over. So let's hand over now to our commentator, Babajide Guerrero, and Yemi Olus will also join him there. So Babajide, take it up.
Thank you so very much, studio. Thank you so very much, Adeji Omotoyinbo. What a day. The levels of preparations has been absolutely immense and intense as well. The months have been compressed to weeks. Weeks have been compressed to days of countdown to what is the inaugural edition, the first of its kind edition of this absolutely gorgeous day that we're enjoying here today. So this is it. This is the reason. This is the reason many have journeyed from far and wide, the gathering of sports immortals. This is a one true test of heroism and character. We can also say that it's the measuring tape of human endurance and perseverance. Many stars of this particular sport will tell you that it's the ultimate hour of glory, and we hope that it would arrive in good time as we herald a new queen and king of the Abuja International Marathon. We welcome you to the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria, Africa's most, should I say, Africa's and the world's most populous black nation. What a day. Well, you've heard it all from the team. They've been absolutely fantastic on the conversations earlier. DJ Mobutembo and the gentleman and lady in the studio did mention how important this is for Abuja as a territory. The amazing scenery. It's an amazing feeling because of the quality of preparation. Be outstanding, to say the least. You want to say that it's been amazing just to see how beautiful the people have accepted and how people are growing into this tradition, the tradition that I've seen marathon go through different part of Africa and different part of the world. You do remember that there are major cities in the world today that host marathons on a yearly basis. An interesting thing, which is a fact, is that some of these athletes that are on display at this level here have also participated at some of the finest places across Nigeria and across the world, should I say. So by all means, we welcome you to Abuja. We welcome you to the citadel of power. The weather has really been flexing its muscles, if you may. But these athletes are all for it. They absolutely understand what is needed of them today. We've been here from the get-go. The team has been absolutely amazing. The team of promoters, the team of partners, the team of athletes. I've been trying to make this particular spectacular first-time edition of the biggest and the most intense sports spectacle known to mankind, the marathon. This particular marathon has been postponed. It was postponed at a point sometime last year, just so the entire planning can be put in top gear and top shape. And when the time eventually came, the entire set of athletes all across Africa were interested to participate in the first of its kind international marathon that a big, huge city like this is hosting. So you're welcome to commentary duties with me. My name is Babajide Guerrero. The lads in the studio have been dicing and slicing everything that need be sliced about this very special day that we're witnessing. And I'm never alone on in the commentary booth. With me today is the lady you saw earlier in the screen, and now she just made a little bit of a marathon herself to this commentary booth with me. A step forward, Yemi Oluz. Yemi, how are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm doing great, thank you. And you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing day to be alive. It's the very first edition of the International Marathon. We've been expecting a day like this now, haven't we, Yemi?
Definitely. This is history being made, as it were. First edition of the Abuja International Marathon. So, of course, our expectations are high, and we're hoping everything goes hitch-free. Of course, right now, it seems the weather is in their favor. At least it's cool. You know, we had light showers, and so that will definitely be a great advantage to the athletes. So I'm sure it's something that
I cannot agree any less with you, Yemi, because these athletes understand that most of the time they tend to compete at the harshest of weather conditions.
definitely.
And you know, when you see them, it's like they're having a walk in the park, even though it's not really easy. You know, for our viewers at home, they think they watch things like this and like, oh, they're running at a slow pace. No, it's not. Trust me, it is ridiculously fast. It is energetic. It is intense. And some of the world's best marathoners are here on display. I will be going through some of those particular names, you know, but let's just touch on the temperature. This is a very, if the sneakers, if the gears being worn by the athletes are proper, they're having a time of their life, because most athletes will tell you that the very best form and weather to race in, especially if you're a marathoner, is this one, because of the level of humidity. It's kind of low. Your body is
Yeah.
not adjusting so much. In
Yeah.
fact, it's conserving a lot of energy for the
Yeah.
entire race.
Because at least their feet won't be burning for 2 hours plus. So imagine if you were doing that.
Have you tried that
under
before?
Never. That is scorching sun.
Yep.
2 hours non-stop. Oh my, your feet will be burning, right?
Indeed.
But for now, you know, the weather is cool, it's wet, you know, so that will be a great relief for them, you know, and then it's not a scorching sun as well. You know,
Indeed.
the weather is cool, temperature cool. So yeah, I expect some good times from them since the weather is cooperating as it were.
Yes, and let's open.
I hope
Because
so.
you did mention about the fact that the feet are not so scorching. The sun is not so the best.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes these shoes, this footwear, tend to soak in a little bit of water, and that's one of the reasons Eliud Kipchoge had issues in the last, I think, Berlin Marathon, where he came third place, because according to the theories being dished out, you know, when the greatest of all time loses a marathon, everybody's out there.
What happened?
Yes, what exactly happened?
What happened?
You know, what went wrong in there? And then people are talking that there's a chance that the first couple of people who came, who finished ahead of him in that particular race, wore a certain level of gear, and it was different from his. And these ladies are also, you know, very much in this race, and we must commend the quality of planning, Yemi, that we've seen so far, the Abuja International Marathon.
Definitely, you know, it's never easy hosting an event of this magnitude, and this is the first edition as well, which means there are a lot of challenges, you know, that
Absolutely.
will have been surmounted for this to be a reality today. So we are thankful that it did get to happen, you know, and it can only get better from here.
Indeed, indeed. And speaking of better, the time for some of these athletes has to be better. We have a number of them coming in from different marathons across the world in impressive 2 hours 15, 2 hours 17,
You
2
have
hours
2
18.
hours 8
Yes.
minutes, you know, 2 hours 10 minutes as well. Because the person who comes with the fastest time here has a time of 2 hours 8 minutes. That's Emmanuel Naibe from Kenya, and he appears to be leading, you know, at the moment. So that's a good one. So I'm expecting to see like a 2:12, 2:13 winning time, since this is the first edition, you know. But subsequently, I'm sure it's going to get better, because even the level of athletes itself will improve. By the time they hear of this, by the second edition, more people will be registering, be coming in, you know, and that will even make the field of a better quality. So they will push each other, and then the times will get faster. So for a first edition, yeah, let's see what the time will be. Probably a 2
Possibly, yeah, possibly. I'm looking forward to a great time. You know, sometimes, Yemi, this athletes understand that regardless of the stage, regardless of the place, if you are putting on your kit to race for your name, for your country, it's always absolutely important.
Definitely.
And so, you know, some of them will be looking to really improve on their personal best.
Definitely.
And you know, a number of them will also want to probably just put in some season best and just,
exactly,
you know, put that level of work in.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you would want to record something,
yeah,
even if it's not a personal best, there may be a season's best, you know. But whoever wins, it is a course record because this is the first edition.
Indeed.
You know?
Your name will never be forgotten.
Exactly. Yeah, it will be a course record. So people want to get something out of this race today, you know, not just come and race, but that you're able to record something which will show an improvement.
Absolutely. We just witnessed our very first water point of water start. Pretty much important. You shouldn't miss a water stop. It's absolutely important because the water stop is what sometimes, aside water, some of these athletes get to have little tiny electrolytes of nutrients that could be used to just energize them all through the race. And when you miss that stop, it could be dangerous.
It could prove fatal if you're not careful, you know. So it's very important you do not miss anything.
Special thanks to the gentlemen of the Federal Road Safety, the road workers as well, the men and women of FTT who have really towards this particular amazing initiative, and just to showcase this very beautiful city, Abuja.
Abuja is a beautiful city.
Indeed, it is.
And I'm sure we'll be able to showcase that. That will be showcased today as well. You know, beautiful landmarks. That's Deborah Palm. She's, Nigeria's biggest female long-distance runner.
Indeed.
A multiple national champion, and she's won the Lagos City Marathon a couple of times for the Nigerian category. You know, the Okpekpe race, she's won it about 6 times and so on. So it'll be good to see what she can do here today.
You know, one of the things about Deborah Pam and her husband, Emmanuel Giangiom, is the fact that they both reside in a nearby city, and you know, gisting with them earlier, and they were like, oh, the other races, one of the challenges they have is the issue of distance, having to travel from Jos to Lagos. And you know, Deborah Palm is, you know, just to Abuja is, I won't say it is too bit close, and that could even maybe be another factor. Do you think?
Oh well, maybe and maybe not, because Jos is not too far from here, and that's their training location, and she's from Plateau State, you know, as well. So I actually expect to see a good performance from her, because they didn't have to travel like all the way to Lagos, you know, or Warri, or Edo State for Okpekpe. This is not a stone's throw, but it's not so far. You know, they've gone to further places.
Absolutely.
So this should actually help. So it should be an advantage. So I'll be hoping she actually pulls this off.
Well, she is elite. She's elite of the elite, Deborah Palm. She's the golden girl of Nigeria's marathon.
Definitely.
Step forward. Her time has been improving over the years, and she's been a star. She's been 13 years old. She's been there. She's done that. She's crushed what has been, you know, what has been every form to a baby.
Exactly.
So it's fine to call her Mommy Palm now. Remember that she comes from a family of marathoners as well.
Exactly.
She's got siblings as well. And so I just try to imagine.
Teammates as well.
Teammates,
you know, because the bulk of the elite Nigerian athletes here are from her club, the High Altitude Club in Plateau State, registered about 75 athletes, 30 of them elite. So yeah, she's running against her teammates as well as the contenders from outside Nigeria. I believe these are some of her. Okay, though these are the Kenyans. These are the Kenyans and Ethiopians.
And that just brings us to the level of this beautiful sport, this beautiful event, marathon in this nation, Kenya and Ethiopia. They are absolutely dominant. I mean, every day, all day, every day. On Saturdays like this, they are absolutely dominant. They do not take no prisoners. When it comes to marathon, there's so much advantage. You know, even the from their weather to their to the environment, to the terrain, So they are very highly skilled, and nobody can really push them or shove them aside when it comes to marathon in the world.
Yeah, it's their culture. It's become their culture, you know, because we see that the world record holders, both the men and women's marathon, are Kenyans. So this is something that has become a part of them, you know, almost like their property. But then, you know, we see people like the Ethiopians also keenly fighting, because we also had greats from Ethiopia, you know, like Haile Gebrselassie,
Yes.
you know, Kenenisa Bekele,
Yes.
and some of these other people. But the Kenyans have refused to let go, you know. They are holding on to it, and it will take a great deal of planning, preparation to get to that level, actually, you know. But it's something we year plan. Let's have a 10-year plan. Looking at how popular the marathon culture is becoming in Nigeria, why not deliberately, intentionally now have a structure and a program for our up and coming young long distance runners, you know, and let them go on training tours to Kenya, let them go, you know, like, we have the population, we have the topography. All it just takes is a little bit of planning, a little bit of intentionality, you know. So if we can do that, it's something that, yeah, we can actually get to this level. We just need to plan it.
And just like you mentioned, the coach of the team earlier, high altitude team that you mentioned, is coached by Steve Nuhu, and,
Yes,
he did mention
yes,
something in one of his conversations that, hey, we need to go back to the school sports. We need to add it to the act of curriculum. It has to be part of the curriculum of the Nigerian education system, and it's absolutely important. And yes, so I completely agree with you. There's a need for us to channel this and let it be the beginning, let it be the start.
Exactly.
And it's good to see that all around Nigeria we see marathon distance coming to be a thing now lately, from Okpekpe to Isenyi to Ife, you know, everybody stuff and making the peace race in F4
Yes.
in Warri. So it's good to see that it's a growing symbol of leadership and sports across Nigeria, and that's right. That's what we want to see. But I think we just went past the first 10 kilometers, 5 to 10 kilometers, and you can still see some of the athletes are still very much in shape. Thankfully, the weather has been very, very good. It's been very nice.
Very cooperative.
Yes, it is cooperative. Speaking of cooperative, so has been the level of preparation as well from all the sponsors of this very monumental event happening in FCT. You know, sometimes athletes, as we're seeing right now on the screen, try to just space out in this situation, and that's another water stop, another important water stop that is needed. Some like to run in groups, maybe drawing and driving energy from each other.
Yes, definitely.
Just be in clusters, in little groups of 5, of 10s, and the leaders of scale are very, very, very much established. And meanwhile, some just like to space out, just so you don't touch me and then we don't get to fall each other. I mean, whatever works and whatever rocks the both of the athletes.
Exactly. I'm sure from the 20-kilometer mark, we're going to see people begin to spread out. You know, the men will be separated from the boys, as we say. You see people taking charge. You see people beginning to move away, you know, to make a mark for themselves. So at that point now, it has become a personal race, you know. So gradually, I'm sure by the time we get to the 20-kilometer mark or so, we'll begin to see them spread out.
It's important to also say that the water that we've been enjoying so far, that the water the athletes of some of the enjoying so far, you know, has been shared and given to us and you know, delivered to us by our sponsor, Aquafina Waters. For me, I mean, easily the best water in the country. I don't know what you drink, Yemi, you know, but that right there is the best water. Yeah, so they've been on the ground. I saw an entirety of a truck full of water, like 2 or 3 in readiness for all these athletes, including amazing light electrolytes for some of these athletes to just ingest, you know.
Thank you, Aquafina.
Yeah, so yes, big shout out to Aquafina for doing the great stuff. We saw earlier in the last visual where the female athletes at Debra Pam, were on like an uphill.
Yes.
And that right there, it just explains how beautiful the topography of Abuja can be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very nice, to see that it's undulating, the kind of plains. The plains are not entirely straight, and it's good to see, that one of the beauty of this entire place, FCT, is, what is
From the mind of a roadside artisan here in rural Kotongura has sprung the inspiration to build an aeroplane that hopefully will fly someday. Meet Sani Muhazu, a multi-talented artisan with no formal education. He is a welder who fixes electronics and can even repair cars, but is now building an aeroplane. I wasn't surprised when I found him. This is how greatness begins, from the least expected places and situations. We had just arrived at this airstrip in Kotongura, awaiting the arrival of the Niger State Governor, when we found what looks like the skeleton of an aircraft parked there. It is a dream of Sani Muhazu being set in motion. Along the way on his journey to build an aeroplane, he met James, an HND holder who studied mechanical engineering from the Federal Polytechnic in Kebbi State. He now provides the technical requirements for the project, since Sani Muhazu, the initiator of the project, has no formal education.
Many years ago, the Wright brothers that developed the aircraft that we're using today began like this, and then today I have Sani and James right next to me.
I never had a formal education. This is a gift from God. I began with putting plugs together to generate lights, to batteries, and even fixing chargers. I cannot fix POP lights and charge.
A kind of available materials we're having in our areas, are locally available materials. The materials we are supposed to use are aluminum alloys. If you look at the wings, what we are having there is sheet metal, a sheet metal 0.6. We are supposed to use aluminum sheet. That is what we are supposed to use. So the whole construction is fabricated locally.
My